It's my pleasure to have writer, actor, comedian, club executive director, welcome to Wrexham consulting producer, man extraordinaire, Humphrey. Welcome to the World Soccer Talk podcast.
I like the catch-all of man extraordinaire. Yes, I will take that.
So Humphrey, how does it feel to be responsible for Welcome to Wrexham? Without you, the series would never exist, and Rob would never be a soccer fan if it wasn't for you.
I mean, listen, who knows what the way the fates would have woven Rob's future with football if it wasn't for me. But it's very exciting. It's great to be, it's great to be here. Great to be on the cusp of the second season coming out. We're in our, third 3.5 season of running the football club. It's been one of the greatest adventures of my life. So I'm very, very grateful.
So one of the questions I have, so I watched a little bit of season 2 so far, as kind of an advanced preview, is that there's no spoilers. So going into season 2, I think pretty much everyone knows what happens, but basically we're kind of led through. Okay, it's the beginning of the season, and here we go. Was that a conscious effort to basically not give any spoilers in the beginning for new people, perhaps, that hadn't seen it,
I think we've heard from various people that loved the first season that they've intentionally avoided hearing what our results were all year because they didn't want to know what happened in season 2. And so, I'm always surprised. Obviously, we feel Wrexham is the centre of the universe, centre of our universe, certainly. But there are a lot of people that still haven't seen it, don't know. So, I think there's definitely a movement on our part not to. I have to avoid being too, talking about stuff that happens later on in the season or assuming that anybody knows what's going on because, we now know it's basically a capital crime. If you spoil the end of a TV show, if you talk about the end of The Wire, people go mad because, that's a spoiler even for a show that ended 15 years ago. I had a genuine one the other day. What was it? Where I said somebody died in in the West Wing. I mentioned a character dying in the West Wing the other day, and someone was like, "Are you joking? Like, why would you say that?" And it's like, well, it ended in 2008. I thought I was safe.
So Welcome to Wrexham is coming out on FX on September 12th. Who's responsible for the magic? I mean, because I was at Wrexham at the Racecourse a few weeks ago, and I saw the TV crews going around doing kind of the raw footage. But the actual series itself is so well produced. There's so many great interviews. There's obviously a lot of love and labor that goes into it. Like who's and when I look at the credits, there's so many producers listed. Like who's responsible for the magic of that show and how well produced it is?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, my role I'm not responsible for the magic. My role in the documentary is purely sort of to say every now and then, oh, by the way, we've got a new player arriving at 12:30 for a medical. You might want to go and lurk in the car park to film him. But, we had an incredible team on the ground that were assembled by Boardwalk, who are the producers. And for the first season, that was a guy called John Hennion. This year, for season 2, it's these guys, Milosh and Paddy, basically, as they were known, Milosh American, Paddy from Ireland. And they just, inserted themselves into the club, really. So they were just very, very close to the players, very, very close to the people of the town. And I think, the editing and everything gets done in the States, and that's, they piece it all together. But I think where the real key lies is having people who the players trust, the fans trust, everybody trusts that they will open up to them and talk to them. It's that is absolutely vital. And I think some of the guys, the crew on the ground that shot, made North Wales. It's not hard to make North Wales look beautiful, but they did a great job of making North Wales look beautiful and making Wrexham look beautiful. So it's sort of collective effort, really.
So were you surprised at all at the success, especially in the US last year? I mean, like some of the numbers in terms of the number of people watching the matches, watching the games, streaming on social media, impact, everything that seemed to happen. It was at times Wrexham was the biggest story in football, even bigger than some of the Premier League matches on certain weekends, especially during the FA Cup. Was that a surprise to you?
I think I always hoped and I always had an expectation that people would care and be interested, but I think the extent of it definitely, caught all of us by surprise. And I was talking on the phone with Rob the other day, and he was very baldly trying to assert that he always knew. And I was like, well, hang on, I remember this conversation where we thought, we were aiming for this kind of benchmark, and we blew past that. But he has always had, to be fair to him, this absolute conviction that we could do extraordinary things with this club and go, get to the promised land and get to the very top tier of the English football system. And that's very much what we're trying to do. I think that people have good stories. Football clubs, every football club has great stories around them. I think Wrexham, it's Wrexham's identity is a cross-border team. As every single game is a cross-border derby. Every game has that little hint of kind of us versus them about it. And I think all of those factors put together give us this extraordinary capacity. Rob and Ryan, I think, draw a lot of people in. And then what people find is that they fall in love with the town and the team and the people. Mm-hmm. And that sense of seeing themselves, seeing people passionate about something that is easily understandable is very compelling.
So what about outside the United States and around the world? What are some of the plans or some of the thoughts about Wrexham as far as globalization, kind of a global plan, just trying to kind of increase exposure in Asia or Africa or other continents?
Well, I mean, modern football clubs do, in order to compete at the very top, and that's, we would love to try and compete at the very top, even competing in the Premier League, not even the top end of the Premier League. You need to expand your fan base. You need to expand global interest, and we've done an extraordinary job with that. The documentary and the storylines that football throw up in their own way have done an incredible job of that for us, particularly in English-speaking territories. But at the football club, I've met when I've been lurking outside, as I often am, nervously pacing before games. I've spoken to people from Thailand, from Germany, from Denmark, all the Scandinavian countries, all over the UK. I mean, almost more weird, I think, are the people from the UK who are often so, entrenched, tribally entrenched into their team. We have folk coming in from Newcastle, Scotland, the West Country, London, who just want to come up and see a Wrexham game because they like the documentary. Right. So, we'll continue to push that. We'll continue to try and get people interested. The tour to the US this year was eye-opening because, we played in front of a combined, we had 55,000 in North Carolina, we had 35,000 in San Diego, another 10,000 in LA, and 20,000 in Philadelphia. Like, those are extraordinary numbers to turn out to watch a League Two team. And long may it continue.
And last question, Humphrey, is about all those Americans that are roaming around the streets of this North Wales town. I mean, any stories or any crazy stories that you've come across or run into with these fans?
The crazy thing for me was talking to Wayne Jones, who runs the Turf pub, who's a sort of figure that people would know from the documentary. When I saw him for the first time after the documentary came out, I think it was sort of, I come back and forth a fair bit. I'm based in the US, and I think it was about a month after the documentary came out, I had finished, that I came over and went to his bacon butty van to get a delicious breakfast roll. And it was, how are you? How are you doing? He's like, it's been mad. We're getting 60 to 70 American folk in a day into the Turf. And, what that does for the Wrexham economy, what that does for the local, we have a sort of this sudden North Wales, again, there's so many amazing things for people to do and see. You can't throw a brick without hitting a castle in North Wales. You can't, turn a corner without seeing some glorious mountainous vista. And the more people are coming, the more people are enjoying that, the better. So, that's been, I think, the thing that really made me go like, whoa, that's crazy, is to have that many people coming in a day.
Yeah, well, season 2, Welcome to Wrexham, starts on September 12th on FX. Really looking forward to it and seeing Wrexham hopefully this season. Who knows, right? Hopefully get
fingers crossed.
Yes. Best of luck.